They thought they got away with it. They thought they won. They thought they could say what they said, do what they did, treat you however they wanted, and simply move on with their life. No apology, no accountability, no explanation, nothing. Maybe you've watched them smiling, laughing, posting pictures, living life like nothing ever happened. Maybe you even watched other people celebrate them while you were left trying to pick up the pieces. And if you've ever looked at all of that and thought, how did they get away with this? You're not alone, because that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like they escaped. It looks like they walked away untouched. It looks like life rewarded the person who caused the damage while leaving you to carry it. That's one of the hardest parts too. It's not just what they did, but watching them act like it never happened. Watching them rewrite the story. Watching them make themselves the victim. Watching people believe them. Watching them build another relationship without ever acknowledging what they destroyed in the last one. If you've lived through that, I know how frustrating it feels, because you're not asking for revenge. You're asking for reality. You're asking for accountability. You're asking yourself, does the truth even matter anymore? But here's what they never understood. Silence doesn't always mean victory. Distance doesn't always mean escape. And walking away doesn't erase what was done. See, they thought they got away with it because they were only paying attention to what they could see. They saw that you stopped arguing. They saw you stopped calling. They saw that you stopped trying to explain yourself. They assumed your silence meant defeat. What they never considered was that your silence wasn't surrender. It was acceptance. Acceptance that some conversations no longer needed to happen. Acceptance that not everyone wants the truth. Acceptance that protecting your peace was finally more important than proving your point. Think about that. Some people think that they've won simply because you stopped participating. But sometimes the strongest move you'll ever make is refusing to keep playing a game that was designed for you to lose. You see, they thought you gave up. You actually let go. Those are two completely different things, because giving up says, I have no hope. But letting go says, I have too much respect for myself to keep doing this. That's growth. And growth is something they never planned for. You see, they expected you to keep chasing closure. They expected you to keep defending yourself. They expected you to keep trying to make them understand. They never expected you to realize that closure doesn't always come from another person's apology. Sometimes closure comes from your own clarity. You see, the moment you stop needing them to admit what happened, you begin taking your power back. Because here's the truth. Some people spend so much time trying to protect their image that they never stop to protect their character. You see, they convince everyone around them that they're the good person, the victim, the misunderstood one. But image and character are not the same thing. You see, image is what people believe about you. But character is who you are when nobody's watching. And eventually, life has a way of revealing both. Maybe not on your timeline, maybe not the way you expected, but patterns always tell the truth. This is why I always say the truth becomes impossible to ignore once you stop arguing with what you keep experiencing. Think about your own life. How many times did you ignore your own experience because someone else's words sounded better? How many times did you explain away behavior that was already explaining itself? How many times did you wait for an apology when the pattern had already given you the answer? That's what changed. Not them, but you. You stopped arguing with reality. You stopped negotiating with disrespect. You stopped making excuses for behavior that consistently hurt you. And from that moment forward, everything began changing. And it's not because they changed. It's because you did. You see, there comes a point where you stop asking, how do I make them see what they did? And you start asking, what kind of life do I want to build now that I finally see it myself? That's the turning point. That's where your future begins. And that's exactly why I wrote Phoenix from Stability to Power. Because Phoenix isn't about waiting for someone else to become accountable. It's about becoming so rooted in your own truth that another person's lack of accountability no longer determines your future. It's about rebuilding trust in yourself, learning to recognize unhealthy patterns sooner, choosing peace over proving a point, and realizing that your greatest comeback was never getting them to admit that they were wrong. It was refusing to let what they did define the rest of your life. You see, they thought they got away with it. They thought your silence meant they had won. They thought your absence meant that you had given up. They never imagined that your silence was a sound of someone finally choosing themselves. And they never expected that while they were busy convincing themselves they had won, you were busy becoming someone they could never defeat. You see, the greatest victory wasn't watching them lose. The greatest victory was realizing your life was finally moving forward without needing them to come with it. Peace, blessings, love, and power.